Hey everybody, welcome back to the Thinking Crypto channel, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I have some very interesting news for y'all. The SEC is about to get sued by Grayscale. Their CEO says this is on the table if the SEC denies our Bitcoin spot ETF. Now remember, in my recent interview with SEC Commissioner or former SEC Commissioner Joseph Grunfeld, he said the applicants could do this. This is a big update and it has implications across the board. So I want to break it down, and also what does it mean for like lawsuits that are happening right now with the SEC and Ripple and Library and so forth. Also, we have a Canadian Prime Minister candidate that today went and bought some food with Bitcoin. This is significant. We're just seeing a lot of government officials, many candidates who are pro crypto, guys. It's amazing what's happening globally. We're also going to talk about FTX. It appears they're about to launch the biggest crypto fund. I want to break the details down for you guys. I'm sure that's going to be loaded with billions of dollars. Now, before we get to it, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment below, and hit the subscribe button if you're new here. It helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. Guys, if you're listening on a podcast site, please give me a 5-star rating. And earlier today, I uploaded my interview with VeChain CEO Sunny Liu, and we talk about all the big things that are happening with VeChain, such as the launch of VUSD, which is the first stablecoin on the VeChain blockchain, and much more. It's a great interview. I'll put a link in the description. If you hold the VeChain or VThor tokens in your portfolio, you have to watch this. Now, a quick word from our sponsor, and that is iTrust which allows you to trade cryptocurrencies 24/7 in a retirement account. So essentially, you're doing this in an IRA. It gives you a huge tax savings and implications, guys. You can defer a lot of taxes, and of course, use of a lot of income tax-free in a sense of investing within the year. And they have 25 plus cryptocurrencies, a full mobile app, full support team, and they have great security. They use Coinbase and Fireblocks, so they have institutional grade crypto custody. And best of all, it's free to sign up. You don't have to pay anything. There are no monthly fees, no hidden fees. So be sure to check out iTrust Capital. If you use my link in the description, you can get a $100 funding bonus. So be sure to check it out. Link will be in the description. All right, let's look at the market here. Bitcoin today touched $48,000. We're seeing green across the board. The alts are moving up as well. Ethereum looks really strong right now. It is at $3,364, up near 16% from a 7-day perspective. Bitcoin pulling back a little bit. It's at $47,405. And we have BNB at $432. We have XRP at 87 cents. Cardano at $1.19, Solana at $108, Luna at $98, Avalanche, AVAX at $91. So the market's looking good, guys. And of course, as we've talked about a lot, the market follows Bitcoin's move. We saw Bitcoin started popping off and increasing in price, and then the alts follow, right? So that is why we want Bitcoin to do as well as possible, to go as high as possible, because that capital flows from Bitcoin into the altcoins. And once you understand this, you'll kind of know how to play the game and what to hold in your portfolio, and understand the cycles that are happening both from a micro and macro perspective. So if we look at the Bitcoin weekly chart here, we see so far for this week, we have a small green candle. We want that to increase and get larger, of course. So I'm hoping Bitcoin can go to 50,000 this week. That would be awesome, and continue its respective strong move upwards. We'll see what happens. Remember, nothing goes up in a straight line. So Bitcoin may do a little pullback here and there before continuing its retracement. And remember the two scenarios I've been telling you guys about. Just remember this, please, because I don't want you all to get confused, or I want you to understand what are some possible scenarios that could play out here. One we've been talking about is the Bitcoin going to its retracement of 58K, then correcting into a bear market. Alts will of course follow Bitcoin's move, and we should expect an epic alt season. The other scenario is that Bitcoin is still heading to new all-time highs. It could potentially hit new all-time highs later this year. So even though it may go to 50K or 55 and then pull back, it's still going to keep going up. That's the other scenario some folks are talking about. I don't know which one is going to play out. And I've said many times, I'm preparing for both. I'm taking profits at the retracement top of about 55, 58K. I'll still hold some Bitcoin just in case the price goes higher later this year. But at the end of the day, I took some profit, so I'll be comfortable with the cash that I need to do whatever I need to do. And of course, I'll be taking profits for altcoins. So I'm saying these things. If you hold Bitcoin in your portfolio, obviously, it's just something to think about, and obviously not financial or investment advice. Now, right now, the crypto market fear and greed index is back at greed for the first time since November 16th, 2021. So we are certainly in a upward trend. Things are looking bullish. Of course, when we start getting to extreme greed, that is when you need to be looking at selling, right? You have to do the contrarian view. When things are at extreme fear, that is when you're buying. Buy the low, sell the highs. So these are signals that we have to pay attention to, and we have to go against the crowd, to go against the herd. And that is, the herd is usually mainstream adopters, right? Or investors, I should say, who are not researching. They just go with the crowd and what CNBC is telling them. They just read headlines. You don't want to be that a part of that crowd, right? You want to be research. And that's why I hope you're subscribed to this podcast, this channel, and you're listening and following the news on a daily and weekly basis. Now, here's what Will Clement, who's a great analyst, had to say. Bitcoin weekly MACD flipping green. So we can see here on the chart that when things were in the green, that is when the prices were starting to go higher. And then obviously in the red, that is when we were in those downward trend moments. So clearly we have a very small green element here. So we still have some ways to go. And let's see how high the price goes. Once again, I want higher prices. I'm not a bear. I am a bull. And I'm a bull from a macro perspective. Sometimes people say, how are you still bullish and the price is down? Because I'm looking at it from a macro perspective. The daily, the weekly, the monthly doesn't matter to me because I see where we are still early in this crypto asset class and there's still ways to go and adoption is happening. So we'll see how high the price goes, guys. I'm hoping, for the scenario that we hit new all-time highs, but that may not be possible. We may just retrace. So we'll see what happens. Now, Will Clement also shared the following. Bitcoin has closed above short-term holder cost basis for the first time since December 3rd. Hard to be bearish as long as BTC is above. So this is another respective metric, if you want to call it that, short-term holder cost basis. And you'll see here on the chart, it's looking good as long as things continue as they look like they're headed to. We should be fine. Now, Credible Crypto, who I'll be interviewing again, you guys may recall my interview with him. He's one of the folks who's looking at that second scenario, that Bitcoin's heading to new all-time highs. And he said, in all seriousness, the fifth should be similar to the first and third in that once we get going, pullbacks will be shallow and it will essentially be up only for a number of months, not really a new paradigm, just the result of expansion over a year-long consolidation period. So he's talking about these respective waves of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we shall see, my friends. Obviously, I would love for this scenario to play out because I want higher prices to make more money, just like many of you. So we'll have to be patient. Remember that word, patience, and don't invest with your emotions. Now, here's some really big news, guys. And this is pretty cool. Canadian Prime Minister candidate purchases his lunch with Bitcoin. I'm not going to play the video because it's just him saying, hey, I'm going to buy this wrap or whatever it may be. And by the way, he was at Tahini's restaurant in Canada. You guys may recall I interviewed the founder of Tahini's, was one of the smaller, medium-sized businesses that put Bitcoin on their balance sheet and have been very bullish on Bitcoin. So to have a Canadian Prime Minister candidate come to their store and then buy some food using Bitcoin, guys, paradigm shift taking place. I don't care if you love or hate Bitcoin. This is good for the entire market. I've said it many times. Bitcoin is their doorway to crypto, the crypto market. Many people come that way. And then they discover altcoins, they do their research, they start diversifying, right? That's personally how my journey started. So, and many people have the same type of journey. Although that is expanding a bit to NFTs and other types of things like Metaverse. So those things are also ushering people into the crypto asset class. Pretty amazing what is happening. All right, guys, the big news. Grayscale threatens legal action if SEC rejects Bitcoin ETF conversion bid. The world's largest digital asset manager first filed to convert its flagship trust into a spot Bitcoin ETF almost a year ago. Guys, this is huge. So Grayscale CEO Michael Sonnenschein said that the issuer is not ruling out any options when it comes to converting GBTC. The SEC has been denying Bitcoin spot ETF applications for years, but Grayscale is confident approval will come eventually. Guys, I would love for them to sue the SEC. And let me give you some backstory here. Remember my interview with former SEC Commissioner Joseph Grunfeld 2 weeks ago. What did he say in the interview? These applicants can sue the SEC for denial because they have approved the futures ETF and they're not approving the spot ETF. And I've said it many times, this is about the incumbents fighting back. Goldman Gary, he's reporting to his puppet masters, which is Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and so forth. And we've seen these type of things from time and time again. And it's a problem of the larger government, of course, with campaign donations. But I digress. So he said they could do this. And I would love for these applicants to sue the hell out of the SEC to put more pressure, because we've been talking about pressure coming from retail, institutional, media, folks, investigative journalists, and so forth. The SEC is not looking very good right now. And even Congress is putting pressure. I just recently interviewed Congressman Byron Donalds, who was part of the group who sent a bipartisan letter to Gary Gensler and the SEC about crypto reporting. And then I had interviewed former SEC official Joseph Hall a couple of times, and I had done a recent interview with him, and where we talked about the SEC and so forth, and he wasn't in agreement. But anyway, his firm represents Davis. His firm Davis Polk represents the Grayscale folks. So they've been trying to get the Bitcoin ETF, spot ETF approved. So let's see what happens. This is getting very interesting, and it's gonna, I think, really hurt the SEC if these companies start filing lawsuits. So Grace, let me jump ahead to his quote. He said, "I think all options are on the table," Sonnenschein said during an interview with Bloomberg Monday when asked if Grayscale would consider an Administrative Procedure Act lawsuit if their application to convert the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust GBTC into an ETF is denied. The world's largest digital currency asset manager first filed to convert its flagship trust, which is inferior to the currently prohibited spot Bitcoin ETF structure, Sonnenschein said in April 2021. Since the SEC has approved the first futures-backed Bitcoin funds, but all applications for a spot product continue to be delayed. Here's another quote. "The Grayscale team has been putting the full resources of our firm behind converting GBTC, our flagship fund, into an ETF." Sonnenschein said, "It's really important that investors know that we have and will continue to advocate for them." And here's some also very bullish news, guys. GBTC today is owned by investors in all 50 states. And there's actually now over 800,000 accounts in the US, all waiting patiently to have it converted into an ETF. Guys, it's just a matter of time for the SEC to do this. But, as Raoul Pal said in my interview with him, we've got to fight. And we're going to have to really fight. This is why I tell you guys, tweet, call your representatives, make videos, write blog posts, do what you have to do. Our voices are being heard, and it puts pressure on the SEC and Gary Gensler. And once again, the attack is coming from all angles: retail, government, Congress, and other regulatory bodies, the CFTC, and so forth. the institutional players like Grayscale, and then you have media, right? Mainstream media, you have smaller media members like myself and so forth. So the more we keep going, guys, the more we keep attacking, the more pressure is going to come against the SEC, and they are going to have to capitulate eventually. So very bullish news, in my opinion, with what Grayscale is doing as far as their reach and the amount of accounts and so forth. And the fact that they are saying nothing's off the table. We will sue the hell out of the SEC. And I hope they and Van Eck and all the other folks, even Anthony Scaramucci, Skybridge, and all these guys sue the hell out of the SEC. Imagine if all of them filed individual lawsuits or a collective lawsuit, because they've got money. And guess what? They've got political friends. So I like this. I like this a lot. And it goes back to the larger theme of what we've been talking about. The SEC is out of control, and Gary Gensler and the SEC need to be stopped. Now, Jake Tversky, who's a lawyer at the Blockchain Association, he tweeted out the following today. The SEC just proposed a rule that would expand the definition of regulated dealers to include people who employ passive market making strategies that have the effect of providing liquidity to others. It's 200 pages, but doesn't say DeFi even once. This comes shortly after the SEC proposed a different rule that would expand the definition of regulated alternative trading systems to include operators of communication protocol systems. That rule was approximately 600 pages, but didn't say DeFi even once either. He continues here saying, unfortunately, the SEC continues to introduce massive confusion and uncertainty into the very same markets it seeks to regulate. That is an understatement. They have caused, it's like Joseph Grunfeld said, the former SEC commissioner. And I bring him up because he's someone who worked at the SEC. He's someone who sent a letter to Jay Clayton saying, don't file the lawsuit against Ripple. He said, it's a mess. They have created a mess. And it goes back to also the potential impropriety with Bill Hinman and Ethereum. It causes more questions to be asked, as to what the hell is going on in the SEC. Are they corrupt? What is going on with them? And Jake says here, in a healthy rulemaking process, we wouldn't have to guess at the SEC's intent or its underlying goals. This is far from a healthy rulemaking process. Absolutely. It's pathetic what is going on. And I know some people who listen to my content or watch it, they say, dude, why are you talking so much about this? This affects the entire crypto market. It's also roadblocking a lot of capital from coming into the market. And guess what? Many of you are asking for higher prices and crying for higher prices sometimes. This is preventing higher prices. It's not the only thing, but it's a major problem. There's a lot of capital that wants to come in, but they're worried of, hey, some of these coins, they don't know, security or non-security, and no Bitcoin spot ETF, right? There's a lot of capital sitting on the sidelines. So this is why we've got to fight. We got to talk about it. We got to tweet about it. We got to call about it. We got to email about it. Do what you have to do, right? And this is why we need to come together, guys. And this is important. We can't ignore this. Price is important, but this is a problem. If you're wanting higher prices and more adoption, you got to move Gensler and the SEC out of the way. They're roadblocking a lot of the capital, guys. So I hope folks understand that. Now, crypto exchange FTX has mulled funding outside managers after investor interest. Blockworks exclusive, FTX has explored the possibility of adding its first fund of funds operation in recent months, according to 3 sources that with knowledge of the matter. Now, I think it goes without saying, FTX has a ridiculous amount of capital. They've got a huge war chest, guys, and they've been raising a ridiculous amount of money. There's some big time backers behind FTX. Obviously, guys like Anthony Scaramucci, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, and many other big time funds. So they've done a Super Bowl ad, which obviously cost millions of dollars. They've been doing global expansion. In fact, I'll be interviewing someone from FTX Exchange this week. So big things, they're one of the big leaders in pushing for things forward in the crypto market. So if they're about to start another fund or a fund, or maybe a venture capital arm to start investing, it's going to be loaded with a lot of capital. Though a spokesperson for the firm said the exchange isn't moving forward with the operation at this current time, sources said such as an effort could attract a substantial amount of capital down the road. The move comes as exchanges are increasingly looking to diversify their revenue streams beyond trading fees. Very smart on their part. The effort appears to be in its early stages, which, with one source saying the exchange and its U.S. affiliate FTX US has probed the possibility with lawyers in recent weeks. It would mark one of the first such fund of funds for exchanges which have a natural pipeline of institutional crypto investors set up to supply voluminous amounts of day one capital. That's a good way of putting it. The exchange Huobi, if that's how you say it, already runs a fund of funds operations through its assets under management couldn't be obtained. Though its assets under management couldn't be obtained. So once again, I absolutely believe that FTX will raise, could be in the billions, if they are looking to start a fund, and which it looks like they are. And it absolutely makes sense. And they've got a lot of big time institutional connections, guys. So pretty cool. All right, Deutsche Bank, Instagram, it said Instagram's NFT efforts could lead to mainstream adoption. The move by the tech giant could legitimize NFTs, Deutsche Bank said in a report. It's so funny, all these guys who were crapping and trashing crypto years ago, all these banks, JP Morgan, Deutsche, Citi, and so forth, they're all here. They've all bent the knee, they've all capitulated. Now they're talking about not just crypto, but digital assets and NFTs and Metaverse now, and how, billions of dollars are going to be made and yada, yada. And it's like, yeah, we could have told you that. But, this information is not so much for us. It's for the masses, because guess what? The fact that they're putting this info out, they've already taken a position. We've talked about this, right? Smoke and mirrors. Put out a narrative there. This is crap. This is garbage. You'll lose your money. We saw it with Ray Dalio. We saw it with JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon. We saw BlackRock CEO Larry Fink talk about this. And now all of a sudden they're all ready to invest. Guys, the age-old game institutional players play. They've got their friends in media. It's easy for them to go on TV and set a narrative and do the opposite. And I think they've taken their position, and now it's time to pump their bags. That's truly what's happening here. And so I'm not going to read through everything here. They're just highlighting Twitter's looking to integrate NFTs, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and so forth. But they're saying the Instagram one could be a huge catalyst for, mass adoption, given, it's an image-driven platform, of course, and has obviously huge adoption with people using it a lot, right? I think even more in Facebook. So I think you and I understand what's happening here. I don't need to read through everything, but still, it's just amazing to see all these big time players capitulate, and now they're all bullish on crypto and NFTs and so forth. All right, Ron Hammond of the Blockchain Association, who's a frequent guest on my show. He tweeted out his weekly crypto in DC updates. He said, "This week in Congress and crypto, a lot going on in DC, but as it relates to crypto, the hearing on benefits/risks of central bank digital currency, CBDC, in the House has been delayed. However, this issue has rapidly evolved in terms of perception on the Hill. Here's the latest." It says here, the CBDC issue is fairly unique and has shifted quite a lot in terms of how members of Congress view risk and benefits, given many of the recent international developments. This recap is more to show what we're hearing from members and staff in our discussions with them now. So he continues and talking about Democrats and Republicans and so forth. So it looks like CBDCs are going to be a big thing coming up this week. And obviously he cites here, he says, which finally brings us to the executive order from Biden administration. This was a heavy emphasis on the further study and potential development of a CBDC. The executive order raises that a CBDC is a national security issue and should protect American interests, yada, yada. And then he said here, finally, given the various political landmines on the topic of CBDCs, this is one reason we are seeing a push from the banking committees to focus on stablecoins. With so many development members on both sides agree stablecoins need proper guardrails as the CBDC conversations continue. So I think we've talked about it, guys. Every bank, every central bank around the globe will be building a CBDC. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. We've seen many are already testing some in the wild, obviously China and so forth. And, you know, I know, look, I've had my concern. I still have my concerns about a digital dollar, and that is the right to privacy. They're going to track every single thing that you buy and sell. I don't like that. And hopefully they, you know, somehow put a guardrail in place, which we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it's anything under 10,000 they don't track. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see what happens, guys. But at least we have alternatives like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that we can use, and not have to worry about the government tracking every single thing that we're doing. Nevertheless, it's inevitable. This is coming. The ball's already rolling, guys, and we'll see how things go, you know, and what the government does. But this is certainly going to be a big part of the crypto market. In fact, I think it will help more people come on into the crypto market because CBDCs are built on blockchains, and some of the blockchains and tokens that we hold, like, for example, Algorand, the XRP ledger, and so forth, right? So the government's going to be educating people about this and how it works. And that will open up their understanding to blockchain and crypto and what gives cryptos value, guys. And also the fact that CBDCs will be digital, it will allow people to easily buy and sell crypto, right? And to easily go into it with even more than it is now, right? Not saying that it's not easy now, but, you know, we're moving to a cashless society. So I think we're going to see you know, some amazing things in the future with atomic swaps and all of that and interoperability. So yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. Anyway, that is the news. And I would love to hear what you guys think about this Grayscale potential lawsuit against the SEC. I would love to see this. In fact, I'll be publishing tomorrow my interview with J.W. Verrett, who is a lawyer, a professor, and someone who served as the SEC on the SEC advisory committee. And he wrote a article recently on Law 360 saying titled "The SEC's Abuse of the Howey Test." So you don't want to miss this interview. He even sat with Jay Clayton and spoke to him about ICOs and so forth, and not to file the lawsuit. So really great guy to get a perspective from, and that'll be live in the morning. So make sure you have the notification bell enabled and you're subscribed. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.